Hey guys, this is your host Nitin Binhani, and a very warm welcome to my startup podcast channel Jazair Audio, where we share real stories with real learnings.
In today's podcast, we'll talk about the recent and sudden collapse of Subtl.ai, a once promising Indian Gen AI startup. So, what happens when a startup with solid tech, impressive clients, and a brilliant team shuts down in just over a year? Shocking, right? We'll highlight a few brutal truths that every AI founder needs to hear. Let's cover the story into 3 parts, followed by the lessons for the founders. Part 1. The Rise. Subtl.ai, a Hyderabad-based startup, was founded in 2020 by Vishnu Ramesh and Sarath Chandra. It operated as an AI-powered document search platform for large enterprises. The problem was big, making the vast, messy world of enterprise data genuinely usable through simple, natural language. Think of it as an index library to an organization's private, complex documents, thereby allowing it to answer questions with precision and context. This wasn't just another startup jumping on the AI bandwagon. These were specialists carving out a niche in retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Their mission was ambitious. Subtl.ai intended to build the infrastructure that would reduce corporate India's dependence on US giants like OpenAI, and they were delivering too. The tech team was formidable that included researchers from the prestigious IIT Hyderabad, which had developed an auto-tuning pipeline referred to as Subtl v2. They even had a patent and a research paper to back up their intellectual property, focusing on a novel approach to creating enriched vector embeddings from documents. According to Vishnu, Subtl v2 outperformed RAG built on OpenAI's and other open-source platforms by a significant 15 to 20%. It even raised a total funding of $120,000 across 3 rounds. Large anchor clients. This wasn't another AI startup struggling for a proof of concept. Subtl.ai had the State Bank of India, or SBI, as its client, one of the largest banks in the world. They also had defense contracts, which are notoriously difficult to secure in India, and were working with 2 large airports. These were serious, enterprise-grade customers. In a blog post of 2024, the startup revealed that SBI successfully implemented Subtl.ai, demonstrating 92% accuracy in information retrieval, and 943 man-hours were saved, quantified to savings of rupees 5 lakhs or $5,800. This was a classic case study, a clear problem, a technological solution with a measurable ROI. On the surface, Subtl.ai was deemed to be on track to success, hence its sudden demise was all the more shocking. Part 2. The Cracks in the Foundation. Last week, Vishnu posted what he called a heartbreaking message on LinkedIn. A few words said it all: "We have started shutting down Subtl.ai." The news sent a ripple of concern through the Indian startup ecosystem. If a startup like Subtl.ai can't sustain, it raises a serious question on other AI startups in India. The core reasons behind the failure are a complex mix of internal missteps and external market realities, like a battle fought on too many fronts. Vishnu, however, refused to act like a victim, not blaming the market, the investors, or the customers. "It's completely on me. I failed my team and investors more than they failed me for sure," said Vishnu. In his post, Vishnu outlined 4 critical reasons for the shutdown, and here are those. A lack of market focus. Perhaps the most fatal, Subtl.ai had powerful technology, but the founders pointed it in every direction at once. As Vishnu put it, "I got stuck handling customers from wildly different domains with wildly different use cases." Banking, defense, US insurtech, or airports, each of these industries has its own sales cycle, its own compliance hurdles, and its own definition of value proposition. From a growth perspective, this is a cardinal sin for any early-stage startup. When your use cases aren't repeatable, you can't build a scalable sales model. Every industry was a new product launch. The engineering team is pulled in a dozen different directions. Your marketing message gets diluted, and you never build the deep domain expertise that convinces a customer you truly understand their pain. Vishnu's raw honesty sums it up. Customers gave no shits about our other portfolio of work we had done. Because the problems of an airport have little to do with the regulatory challenges of a bank. With lack of focus, your startup is just a collection of one-off projects, and you can't build a scalable venture. B. A non-existent go-to-market strategy. Subtl.ai built powerful APIs for RAG and document processing. A great API can become the core foundation for hundreds of other products. But here's the catch. A brilliant API that no one knows is just a tree falling in an empty forest. Vishnu candidly admitted their entire developer strategy was a single line on their website. Hey, reach out if you want to use our APIs. They could have open source projects built on their APIs, created integrations for popular frameworks like Llama Index and Portkey, or supported hackathons to spur innovation, or even implemented a product-led growth model to let developers try before they buy. Alas, the founders did no marketing for it, and that precious innovation was sadly hidden from the market, a fatal mistake. Founder mismatch. Better CTO than a CEO. Vishnu confessed that he identifies himself as a technologist, a CTO at heart. But as the CEO, he lacked the deep industry knowledge to truly convince enterprise clients to sign on the dotted line. Being a vagabond across industries made him knowledgeable, but not a domain expert in any industry. This is a critical lesson. A startup needs both a visionary builder and a relentless expert seller. If you aren't one, you must find a founder who excels in selling. D. The peril of flirting investors. This resonates with every founder who has been through a fundraising cycle. As Vishnu wrote bluntly, some investors flirt a lot with founders, but it doesn't mean shit until they give you a term sheet. Unfortunately, he made operational decisions such as hiring, spending, planning based on positive conversations from VC funds that ultimately never turned into term sheets. This turned into a big reality check. That hope isn't a strategy, and a verbal commitment is not capital in the bank. Founders' time is their most precious asset, and countless hours are wasted in meetings that feel promising but are, in reality, just knowledge building for the VC firms. Many Indian VCs lack the deep, specialized expertise to confidently evaluate and price a deep tech AI startup. This hesitation leads to endless rounds of questions, indecision, and a risk-averse approach that starves promising companies of the capital they need to compete. Vishnu's advice to founders is to be ruthless with your time. A firm no is a lot better than a maybe. Subtl.ai's paltry rupees, 1 crore or $120,000 in funding, is a testament to this. So, collectively, these four factors, i.e., a fractured focus, a failed GTM, a founder role mismatch, and fatal fundraising assumptions played a critical role in Subtl.ai's collapse. The startup was barely operating on just $120,000 in angel funding, a shoestring budget for a deep tech AI venture, and when the promised follow-on capital didn't materialize, the game was already over. Part 3. The elephant in the room, i.e., India's ecosystem. Subtl.ai didn't just fail in a vacuum, it failed within the specific, challenging, and often frustrating context of the Indian AI startup ecosystem. There's a growing wave of frustration sweeping through the country's AI and SaaS founders that some founders are calling the Skip India movement. The founders feel that Indian enterprises are simply not worth the immense effort it takes to sell to them. Indian enterprises are notorious for demanding extensive free pilots or proofs of concept, thereby draining a startup's limited resources. They can go cold without warning, letting promising deals vanish into a black hole of silence after months of efforts by the B2B startups. This isn't just a sales challenge, it's a cash flow and morale killer. The talent scarcity in India. There is the talent problem in India. While India has a vast pool of engineers, the specific high-end talent needed to build and scale world-class AI products is still razor-thin and incredibly difficult to retain. Umesh Kumar, the co-founder of Runnable, an Indian AI startup, highlights, "We got 1,000 applications for a back-end engineering role in the last 2 to 3 days, and guess how many actually fit the description? Less than 5." According to data from TransXen, over the last 5 years, 706 AI startups have shut down globally. Of those, 54 were from India, pointing to a higher mortality rate for the AI startups in the country. These startups are caught in a vicious cycle: not enough funding to attract top talent, not having enough paying customers to prove a scalable model, and with little traction to convince the hesitant investors. The shutdown of Subtl.ai, therefore, is a mirror held up to the Indian ecosystem. It shows us a landscape where premature scaling is encouraged by hype, where a lack of developer-first thinking is common, and where a disconnect between founders and funders can be fatal. While Silicon Valley AI startups ride the billion-dollar waves of capital, many Indian founders are left paddling furiously just to stay afloat. Finally, conclusive lessons for the founders. Here are the 5 key takeaways from the sudden collapse of Subtl.ai. 1. The importance of focus or going niche. Being niche is your single greatest strategic advantage as a startup. Pick only one industry, one customer, or one problem, and solve it better than anyone else. Become the undisputed expert in that segment. That is how you create a repeatable sales process, a focused product roadmap, and a brand that stands for something. Subtl.ai's failure is a masterclass in the dangers of being a jack of all trades and master of none. 2. Your product is not your go-to-market strategy. You can build the most elegant, powerful API in the world, but if the developers can't find it and implement it easily, it's of absolutely no use. If your product is for developers, then your marketing should basically be developer relations. Invest in the documentation, open source examples, community forums, and integrations from day one. Don't just build a product, build a community around it. 3. Know thyself. The skills that make a great CTO are strikingly different from those that make a great CEO. The introspective genius who can architect a system is not the same person as the relentless seller who can charm a CFO. Be brutally honest about your strengths and weaknesses. As a founder, your most important job is to build a team that fills your gaps. If you're a builder, find a seller. If you're a seller, find a builder. 4. Treat term sheets as the only truth. This is the financial prudence that separates the living from the dead. Cash is your company's oxygen. Do not make hiring or expansion plans based on handshakes, encouraging emails, or positive meetings. The only thing that matters is a signed term sheet and money in the bank. Be skeptical and conservative in your financial planning. As Vishnu learned the hard way, investor interest is not an indicator of a wire transfer. 5. Choose your battlefield wisely. Understand the realities of the market you are operating in. If you're in an ecosystem where customers are slow to pay, investors are risk-averse, and talent is scarce, your strategy needs to be 10 times tighter. This might mean raising more capital up front, targeting global customers from day one, or building a leaner organization. Don't just build for the market you wish you had. Build for the market you actually have the need for and would pay for it. The collapse of Subtl.ai is a sad reminder that in the startup world, success is not just about having a great product. It's about focus, strategy, self-awareness, financial prudence, and a deep understanding of the business environment. Folks, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Join us next time as we continue exploring the dynamic world of startups and the valuable lessons from their journeys.